So I've got a pretty crazy and life-changing story to tell you guys. So if you're ready for some lore, this is it. So I'm 20 right now. So this would have happened around 8 or 9 years ago. Before I go on though, I gotta give you guys a little bit of backstory. So we lived in a pretty nice house. It was 2 stories. It was pretty big, which will be pretty important to the story later on. We were a family of 6 though. So it was me, my 2 brothers, and my sister, who was my half-sister. So she was a lot older than me, and my 2 parents. So, and on top of that, we had 4 pets. We had 3 dogs and 1 cat. But we were also all Christians, and my parents were really devoted followers. But one day our parents pull us aside and they tell us that the bank is trying to take our house, meaning that we can't keep up with our payments because we're not making enough money. So the bank wants to repossess our house, which means they'll completely take it from us. We won't get any money. It's not like we're selling it. They're taking the house from us. So obviously my parents and us are praying every day that we keep the house because we have friends in this neighborhood. We don't want to leave this neighborhood. It's a nice house. And eventually the bank sets a set date that they're going to take our house from us. So by this time, at a certain date, we have to have all of our stuff out of the house. Everything that's in the house on that date, the bank is going to claim ownership of. So if we have like furniture in there, that's now their furniture. If we have like a washing machine, that's now their washing machine, along with the entire house, and we're left with nothing. So we had to pack up everything we needed, which means like donating like most of our toys and clothes that we weren't using anymore, since we only had such limited space to put stuff in our car and like a storage unit. And on top of this, we had nowhere to go, meaning we would be living in our car. We would literally be homeless because we also had no money on top of this. Literally we had like a few $100s. The day came, we're about to leave our house for good, like forever, and we're all in our car and we're driving and we're looking for hotels to stay at, which brings us to the hotel. So like I said, we're a family of 6 with 4 pets, and hotels usually don't like pets, so we had to find a hotel that would allow pets and find a room big enough to fit 6 people to live in, because that would literally be our house, since we had nowhere else to live. And so we're driving with literally nowhere to go, and we find a hotel that allows pets, but they're at 98% occupancy, which means the hotel is 98% full. And so there's literally 1 room left because there's an event going on downtown, and so there's a bunch of people staying at this hotel. So we end up calling and we get the last room they have. And by the way, this hotel opened like this week. This is the first week they're open, so it's literally a brand new hotel. And if we have gotten kicked out of our house a week earlier, we would not be in this hotel. We'd be somewhere, I don't even know where we'd be. But basically we get to the hotel and like we're walking in and everything, and we get the room, and I'll kind of like explain. So basically, so it's like this big. So we got like a couch here, TV here, a bathroom in the middle, and then like a bedroom. So it's like, I don't know how big it was, maybe like 20 feet, 30 feet, something like that. And it was for a family of 6 and 4 pets. So our cat literally stayed in the bathroom literally like the entirety of the time we were there, which you'll see how long that was in a second. Anyways, I told you guys we have like $200, so we have enough money for 1 night at the hotel. You know, my parents are just trusting God and praying and hoping that he's gonna provide, and we'll get to spend another night there hopefully. Which brings us to the couch. So this is the couch, and the couch is significant because as we're preparing to go live in our car because we can't afford the hotel, my mom got a phone call and we ended up selling one of our couches. So we had enough money for another 2 nights, and then 2 nights later we ended up selling like a chair, and then we had enough money for another night, and then we ended up selling like another piece of furniture, and then we ended up selling like a washer and dryer, and then this one on for around a month, literally day to day, not knowing if we're going to be able to stay there. So we didn't stay at the hotel for like 1 week or anything. We stayed in total for 71 days, which is almost 2.5 months of being in 1 hotel room as a family of 6 with 4 pets. So we went from this big 2-story house to a hotel room for months, right? And so for the first month, it was literally living like day to day, not knowing if we're going to be there the next day. And that kept happening like every single night. My parents were praying every single night, and God would answer our prayers every single night, and we get another night to stay. So we were like fully just praying every day and just trusting that God is taking us to where he wants us, and every night he's providing for us. And by the way, legally the bank could have 100% taken our car. We have no idea why they didn't take our car. They could have easily just repossessed our car and used that as a payment for part of the house. So we have no idea why they didn't take our car. And every time we went somewhere and left our car in the parking lot, like our parents were praying that nobody came and just took our car, because they can do that. And every time we would walk out and our car would still be there, and we're thanking God. And the next part of this is the church. So literally after month 1 of living night to night, the church heard about our situation and offered to pay for the rest of the time that we were there. So they would pay every night, including the time that we had already stayed there. And since we had lived at this hotel for a month now, the hotel literally refunded us all the money we paid through that whole month, and then offered the church to pay half as much as we did. So basically, if we were paying like $200 a night, the church would only have to pay $100 a night going forward, and we'd get all of our money back. So insane blessing right there. So just another answer to our prayers during this time. And so now we're entering month 2, and you might be thinking like, wow, this must be like a super difficult time, because family of 6 living in like one hotel room, and in a lot of aspects it was a very difficult time, but God was blessing us the whole way through it because we were staying faithful to him. We weren't like, why did you do this, how could you let this happen, or whatever, because we're trusting in him and know that his ways are a lot higher than our ways. So trying to think that what we wanted was somehow better is just like, it just wouldn't make sense, right? Because God knows best and he wants the best for all of us. So for me and my brothers, because we're like around 11, it literally felt like a mini vacation, because we were like in a hotel the whole time. Like we were pretty cramped together and everything, but the hotel had like a little pool that we would go in. So God was still blessing us, even though we were going through probably the hardest point in our lives. He was still blessing us, and we were staying faithful to him, and he was rewarding us for that. And we were looking at the good and not the bad, because if you focus on the bad, that's all you're going to be thinking about. And God tells us to fix our eyes on him and all things good. So if we're fixing our eyes on, oh no, what's gonna happen tomorrow, and everything bad, then it's just gonna be a spiral downwards. But if we're focusing on him, we're gonna keep moving forward and just keep going up instead of down. And by the way, I'm trying to keep the story pretty short because we've already gone through like a month, and there's just so many small little blessings and things that God did for us that if I explained everything, this would be like an hour-long video, maybe even longer than that, because it was a crazy time and there was so much stuff happening. I'm not gonna go in like every single detail. Just know that God was literally doing stuff for us like every day, because we were staying faithful to him no matter what and trusting in him. And month 2 is November, which means Thanksgiving. So normally our family would actually host Thanksgiving for our extended family. So everyone would come to our house and we'd host like 2 different tables, like the kids table and the adults table, and we'd have like Thanksgiving, which obviously super blessed to do, and not a lot of families can do that in the first place. So now, since we obviously didn't have our house or like virtually any money, we obviously couldn't do that. So our Thanksgiving, instead of being this, it was just me and my family at one of the tables the hotel had. All the lights were off, and the only light we had was coming through a window, which was the sun. It was like the perfect lighting. That was pretty cool. We didn't have a turkey, obviously. We had a rotisserie chicken. So we went from massive Thanksgiving with our whole family with an actual turkey to small Thanksgiving with no lights except for the window and a rotisserie chicken. But here's the thing. My little brother said that this was the best Thanksgiving like ever, and I would 100% have to agree with him, because we're all together spending a great dinner together, and that's what is like the most important part. And so month 2 passes by, and our family is still praying every day, trying to find somewhere to actually stay instead of, you know, a hotel. And we eventually find this pretty small place to stay. It's not like a house, but it's, you know, it's big enough, and it's a lot bigger than the hotel we're staying in. So we're moving there, and once we get there, this is like the main point where like all 3 of us gave our life completely to Jesus, because he had helped us through this entire thing, like day by day. It just, like, from one point of view, you can look at this situation like the worst thing that could happen, like you're living in a hotel room for months with no money. Another point of view, you could see it as my family went from a big house and always being pretty separated from each other to being right next to each other all the time, and that brought us a lot closer together as a family, and it brought us a lot closer to God as well, because we learned to trust in him and rely on him every single day, no matter what it looked like. And that was just like, that's like the main important part, because without that happening, I would be nowhere near as close to God as I am today, and I would definitely not be here making this video telling you guys that if you just trust in God and stay faithful to him and follow him even through the hard times, it will always get better. And God may even bless you during that difficult time in ways that you're not expecting, or maybe ways that you're not even seeing. A year later, we went to this different place, which is I think a little bit bigger, and we're still looking for like a permanent place to stay, like a house. It's this new place for I think it was 1 or 2 years, and then we got an actual house, and this house was 1 story with a basement. So not a basement, a main floor, and a upstairs like our old house. So even though it was smaller than our old house, it was so much better because we're closer together now, and it was a major upgrade from where we were living for the previous years. So we started with a big house and wanting a bigger house, and we ended with a smaller house and being more than happy with this house and not wanting a bigger house than this, which just shows one of the reasons why we go through these difficult times is so God can like grow us and shape us and teach us things that we would have never known if we didn't experience it for ourselves. So going through that like hard time was one of the best things that could have ever happened to my family. Best things that could have ever happened to me and my family. Even though it might look bad on paper, what came out of that situation is far better than anything we could have gone through. And when we give our life to Jesus, he doesn't tell us that it's going to be a smooth sailing from there. He actually tells us that eventually we will run into trouble. We will go through a difficult time. But if we have Jesus, we can get through any difficult time we go through and be joyful and come out of it much better people than we were before. Because if we didn't have Jesus going through that, we would have been like bitter, angry, wondering why we had to go through this when we did nothing wrong. But instead, we were thanking God every single day for what he did give us. And because of that, he blessed us every day and gave us what we needed and gave us what we have now, and also turned us into the people that we are today. So thank Jesus for what you have, because everything good that we have comes from him, and it could all be taken away in the blink of an eye. So, and even if it does get taken away and we lose everything, as long as we don't lose Jesus, then we've lost nothing, because we can get through anything with Jesus, and he'll continue to bless us as long as we stay faithful to him. So if you guys ever want to put your faith in Jesus and stay faithful to him and see what happens in your life and how you change as a person, I recommend talking to like a Christian near you, and if they are truly a Jesus follower, they'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. Or if you want to go to a local church and talk to a pastor, they'll be more than happy to talk to you as well. And if you don't have those people around you, I think the best thing to do is to just pray and talk to God, because prayer is just us talking with God. It's not memorized fancy sayings. God wants us to actually talk with him, and anything we think or say, he'll understand, because he knows our thoughts and he knows our hearts. So anything we say to him, he'll completely understand. So just talk to him. And the only way we can build a relationship with him is if we're talking to him and listening to him. And the main way he talks with us is through the Bible. So, and the best place to start in the Bible are the Gospels, which are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I'd recommend starting with John. And the Gospels are written by the eyewitnesses of Jesus and those who lived with him through his entire ministry, from where he did his first miracle to where he got crucified and then raised from the dead. So if you want to know Jesus, that's the best place to learn about him. And if you don't have like a physical Bible, there's like Bible.com or a Bible app, like on the App Store or the Play Store, both obviously free. So if you want to learn about Jesus, there's nothing stopping you. And if you truly trust in him and put your faith in him, even through the difficult times or when it feels like he might not be there, just trust in him and stick with him and know that he's always there, and know that he will never leave you. And the only way we can get farther from God is if we walk farther away from him. And if we walk towards him, he'll walk towards us as well.